You know, you look at a city this time of morning from a distance, and it's like you're looking at it for the first time, and maybe you are. And you wonder what it's like, who lives here, how'd they get here, why'd they come? And what caused the city to grow up on this particular piece of ground anyhow? What made it take root and grow when lots of the others just sort of died out? Now, it happens I know some of the answers about this city, not because I live here, because I don't, but because I got lucky some years back and discovered this place, and I came to think a lot of it. I made many good friends here. I still come back often. Sometimes it's just hard to pull away.
There's a feeling of warmth that you don't normally feel in other parts of the country.
When I'm walking down the street with friends of mine from other places, and I say hello, and somebody says hello back, and they'll say, "Who was that?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "But you just spoke to him, and he spoke to you." I said, "That's Fort Worth."
I guess every town has a flavor or a personality all its own, but this one seems to have more than most, at least of the ones I've been to. It's got lots of things that you'd expect it to have, and other things that you never dreamed it had. The old and the new together in an unexpected blend. That's Fort Worth, Texas. The unexpected city.
People might have heard for a long time that Fort Worth is cow town, and it's where the West begins. And that is true, very much so. But if people come from far away and they expect to see a lot of horses and wagons and things like this downtown or anywhere around the main city, well, they're not going to find that. Probably the biggest flavor of a western town that they'll find in Fort Worth is this people, the friendly people that they find here.
I think the biggest surprise people get is the fact that it's not all dry ranch land. We've got trees, lakes, beautiful museums.
Well, of course, the first thing they ask is how many horses do you have and where are your oil wells, and I don't see you toting your gun. And when you ask them if they've ever heard of the Kimball Art Museum or Louis Kahn, they say surely. And and we say, do you realize that, one of his largest monuments to his genius is in Fort... Oh, yes, you really do have the Kimball. Or we ask them if they, realize that the Van Cliburn competition is here. Oh, I didn't realize, yes.
What they don't expect are museums. They don't expect an opera company that is good. They don't expect anything like what we've got on Amon Carter Square, the Kimball, the Amon Carter Museum of Western Art, the Fort Worth Art Museum, the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History, all within walking distance. They don't expect that. The reason they're surprised, I think, is because Fort Worth, just by its name and then by reputation, is probably more Texas than any other city.
Cowtown. That's what they called Fort Worth, and for darn good reason, too. Before the oil men came, this town was built on cattle. Right on the Chisholm Trail, the hell-raising stop for rest and recreation even Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid couldn't pass up.
Fort Worth got the name Cowtown very honestly, and I think we wear it pretty well. Cowtown is a very real part of our heritage, not only from the kind of people that came to Fort Worth and came through Fort Worth, but the way Fort Worth made its money. And and started to grow initially, and I think Cowtown is just a fine name for Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. I don't know of another town that, and I've seen quite a few, where you could enjoy great art on one side of the street and take in a cattle auction on the other. Well, you can do that in Fort Worth. And come to think about it, I guess you could always do that in Fort Worth. One night back in the turn of the century, Caruso sang to a packed house in the Northside Coliseum just 3 blocks from the Swift and Company packing plant.
It's kind of nice to think that we belong to the West. It's part of our heritage, part of the things that made the United States great, and certainly Texas.
Every now and then I'll put on my boots and my Western shirt and walk down North Main Street and, you know, feel just like any of those other cowboys over there.
Sunshine, my only sunshine, you make me happy when the skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
You know, I've been trying to get something sorted out in my mind, and here it is. If Fort Worth is where the West begins, then if you're going the other direction, isn't it where the East begins? That's something to think about. Maybe it helps explain a lot of the unexpected sophistication of this town, perched on the edge of the prairie, and the unique quality of life you find here.
The greatest place in the world to live, the way I describe Fort Worth.
I think that the quality of life that you can find here in Fort Worth is better now and is going to continue to be better because we can profit from the cities who have grown so rapidly that the people that live there have sort of lost their town. They live, if they have a newer house, an hour from where they work. They have to get up an extra hour early in the morning and get home an extra hour late at night. And I think it's unfortunate.
If you've ever been to a big town like Los Angeles or Chicago, even Dallas, immediately you get the feeling coming back to Fort Worth that the environment and the pace of life is much more relaxed here. You don't have the tremendously big freeways. You don't have people rushing you. So it's much more relaxed.
The major changes that I've seen, particularly over the years that I've been interested, have been those that deal particularly with human needs. Integration, social issues, housing, those things that affect people the most. And I've seen the city council take an active role in alleviating some of those problems. And when I began to check around, I noticed that the mayor was actually talking to citizens on the phone, that a citizen could call and talk to the city manager. They could actually call and talk to the chief of police. So I realized that people are listening. Fort Worth was able to look at itself and say, I think we got a problem. Now, how do we deal with it? That's the major attribute, I think, of this city, is that it is capable and willing to look at itself, look at its problems, and then decide to try to do something about it. Not always succeed, but try.
When it is all said and done, though, I think the best way to describe it is that Fort Worth is a nice place to live in. First of all, makes it you know, very pleasant to live here. And second, it's a nice place to make a living in. And maybe third, it's just marvelous to bring up a family. It really is.
Well, we've moved quite a number of families to Fort Worth. In many cases, I've offered these men or their families an opportunity to move back to Boston or to New York, and without fail, they've declined my invitation.
If the sun seems bigger when you're in Fort Worth, and it does, so does the opportunity. You know, it's just amazing how Fort Worth has grown since I first started coming here. You know, years ago they used to call it Panther City. That's because a Dallas newspaper joked that they found a panther asleep on Fort Worth's main street. Golly, that panther would have to look sharp today, wouldn't he?
There seems to be consistent and continual opportunity. And you always get that in a younger community than you do in an older community. And as a result, this is the place that I would start again. My own personal feelings towards Fort Worth just go without saying. I owe it a lot. It gave me the type of training and background that served me well. And my hope is that the things that I can do is to offer the same kind of opportunities to the young people that are coming along, even better opportunities than I had.
I think our problem in Fort Worth is to watch the way we grow, to remember that the city belongs to the people, and to make sure that the people are aware of the fact that they control, to a great degree, the destiny of Fort Worth. We can pretty much do what we want to do here.
We can pretty much do what we want to here. You know, I don't know the last time I ever heard anyone say that about their city, if ever. But we can do pretty much what we want to do.
I think Fort Worth's future really is a healthy one as far as economics are concerned. I also think it's a healthy one as far as sociology is concerned. I think its people are certainly more aware and closer than they've ever been probably in history, and I think they're still coming together.
The cultural community shares so much with everyone. The museum directors consciously endeavor to take the art outside of the walls of the museum in addition to bringing people inside. There is a conscious effort to have art everywhere.
When the tourists come to Texas, they pretty much want to see cowboys, and they want to see something about where we came from, and Fort Worth has that more than any other Texas city. And if we capitalize on our heritage without making it plastic, without making it anything except what it is, I think we'll have a very attractive place for people to come for a long time, and I don't think it'll wear out.
The future for Fort Worth, to me, just seems extremely bright. I made that assessment a long time ago when I set up shop here. The future of Fort Worth is just bright. There's no question about that.
The future of Fort Worth is bright. It's exciting. I think we've just started to grow. I think we've just started.
It seems to me the people of this city have found a way of life that comes closer to what most of us would like to have than any other place I know of. I guess they just never found out that they were supposed to get more cold and impersonal and less in touch with each other as their city grew. So there it sits, high on a bluff above the twin forks of the Trinity River, where it can never lose sight of its past and can see its future forever. Fort Worth, the unexpected city.